and welcome to the Tavern Chat podcast. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. Tonight is Wednesday night. I'm actually doing this after one of our weekly Tavern Chat hangouts, which was a lot of fun. You get to talk to other people in the OSR. It's where you make personal connections out of this community of ours. And I think personal connections are what drives things forward. In any case, a topic came up that kind of builds off of what I've been talking about over the last couple of days, off and on. And it is that the OSR or OSR games in general, OSR rule sets, are not necessarily built on game balance. So from 3E on, there's this whole thing about balanced encounters and a design theory or design thought that encounters are balanced against the party, but it doesn't work so well in the OSR. The OSR includes the idea that your party may come across adversaries that are probably too strong for them to readily defeat. And in general, especially when you're dealing with players that have a large three tradition or later influence, this leads to TPKs. It's a joke a lot of times. Is that, oh my God, it's a TPK. Total party kill. Now, I never really had many total party kills when I ran AD&D back in my teen and college years. But it's not because all my encounters were necessarily balanced. My players understood that they could come across something that might not be defeatable at this time in their career. And the better part of valor is discretion. Well, he who retreats lives to fight another day. And my players understood that. I don't know if the OSR in general understands that. We think that like a total party kill is a badge of honor for GMs, and we talk about that a lot, but when you really think about it, there's a lot less total party kills actually happening than are bragged about. Part of that is because if you killed your players off constantly, guess what? Your campaign will never progress, and your players will stop coming back at some point, because even though it's so easy to create a character, in most OSR games, it's not enjoyable to continuously having to restart and reboot. So, retreat. Certainly an option. Is retreat a defeat? It can be. But what we don't deal with is something that, again, we've seen in a lot of movies, whether it's spaghetti westerns or superhero movies, is that the heroes get defeated, but they don't get killed. They're allowed to walk away. They are left unconscious. Think about it. Now, why would you do that? Why would you, as a DM, leave them? Why not? Now, how do you get your party unconscious as opposed to killing them? You could say that, just like in theory, though very few players use these options, that your players can use subduing damage against the enemy. Maybe the enemy is using subduing damage against them. They want to take them captive, or they want to take their property, but not necessarily kill them, because if you kill this band of adventurers, maybe their family comes back now with revenge in their heart to kill you. That's what, if you watch The Magnificent Seven, why do they let the defeated good guys leave? Now, the defeated good guys leave and come back. But why does he let them leave? Because they might have friends, they might have family north of the border that will seek revenge. So you have a justification, if necessary, to allow a party that is captured to leave. And that's another thing I need to mention is that just like players don't take too many captives, how often does an adventuring group surrender? I can think of, actually, I can't think of any fucking time. Because the assumption is if we surrender, we're going to get killed. But your party surrendering can lead to huge game arc. But how do you get them there? Now, you don't want to use, in my opinion, party screw fucking spells. That makes a lot of sense. In any case, a spell like a sleep spell, you don't want to use. There's no saving throw. Why would you use that? Yes, you could capture a low level party with that if you do it. Maybe one and done. I would not repeat it. It gets abused very easily. But if you can get your party captured, maybe in a trap, your party cannot, your players are conditioned to not surrender and not retreat. So you have to maybe take some of that away from them and have them go into a room that is suddenly a trap that they can't escape. They get sleep gassed. Yeah, it's a party screw. But it's really only a party screw if you're gonna kill them. If they get, if they find themselves waking up a mile from the dungeon with nothing but the clothes on their back, some basic supplies, and maybe 2 daggers between them. Yeah, they're gonna have a desire to go back and get their shit. And that's a hell of a drive. But it also shows them that not everything has to be killed. Some things can be captured. You can still win a battle without having to defeat your enemy to the point that they are dead. Defeat does not have to equal death, and I think that's something that, as game masters and players, we forget. I know I forget, and it's easy to forget because we've been conditioned otherwise. But in the earlier days of my gaming, my players would retreat. I had my players in situations where they thought they couldn't survive the oncoming combat. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to fight to the death. It was like, can we parlay? You don't see parlaying happening much anymore, too, either. Role play is not just rolling the dice; it's playing your role, and part of that, I think, is getting overlooked. Just something to think about. Just an idea. Maybe we can balance this out in the long run and get more defeat as opposed to death involved in the process. All right, folks. Thank you for listening. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. God bless. Roll your dice well. Stay healthy and stay safe. And I will talk with you all tomorrow.